Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip Dick is 224 pages long with 22 chapters. This is about a future wasteland, and if I could sum it up in one sentence, it would be a bleak, dismal future Earth where android free will is eliminated. So this is the inspiration behind both the Blade Runner and the Blade Runner 2049 movies. They made two movies out of one book here, and there is a lot that really wasn't touched on in the movies. So there's the themes and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. Either way, one book, two movies. The main character, Rick Deckard, is a police officer, more specifically a bounty hunter employed by the police office of California. And he goes about and finds androids who have expressed free will or, gone rogue, essentially. The androids are used not really as slaves, but I don't know, they officially marketed as like companions and assistants and stuff like that. But pretty much they use them for menial work. So I don't know, you call it what you want, but most of them are on the colony planets. So since Earth is a wasteland after a world war, they start colonizing other planets like Mars and stuff, and they use, and they encourage people to immigrate to other planets. And the carrot that they use is if you immigrate, you get one of these androids as your assistant or whatever, do whatever it is that you tell it to. So there are a number of different things that happen in this world. And the first thing, the opening scene is a mood organ, which this is like a machine that would interface with a human. And so really, I think that kind of tied in with the theme of the main character unsure. The main character was hunting androids, but also he questions himself. Am I an android? Have I gone rogue? And so there's this whole, theme behind that. And the mood organ kind of plays into that, I think, in that, there's a machine giving emotions to a human or triggering emotions in a human. So not exactly the same thing, but it adds to that, doubt that the main character has. So there was expectation of owning an animal. I don't remember from the first movie, but I remember the owl, but that's all I remember. The main character owns an electric sheep. And so the second scene is him going up to his rooftop and taking care of his electric sheep, who, acts just like a regular sheep. It wants oats, it baas, it makes the regular noises, it does all the regular things. And yeah, so I don't remember that much in the movies, but there was a big thing here. Every human on Earth, it's important for them to own an animal and care for an animal and be seen caring for an animal. Like that's part of their identity and that's part of the expectation of living there. So Mercerism is another thing. Like it is the thing that humans have that androids don't. It's that empathy, it's the EQ, the emotional intelligence, the thing that the androids lack, or at least supposedly lack. And really, it's to feel empathy for another human being, and the taking care of an animal brings that out in the humans. So even if it is an electric animal that's supposed to look like a real one. So again, that adds to the doubt and the confusion, right? What's an android? What's a human? So that's part of the overhanging question that's throughout this entire book. So all the actions are under that umbrella. So just that's what I thought about while reading this, either way. And yeah, Earth is a radioactive wasteland, so going outside is a big deal. You have to cover up and use ventilation and stuff like that. And, you can become sterile if you live there long enough. So Earth is decaying, all the buildings, all the people, everything. But there are people, it's home for them. So they didn't want to leave and go to another planet. So there are some people still left on Earth. And this is their story. The androids that the main character is chasing escaped from Mars and are now on Earth hidden among the humans, and the main character's goal is to apply a um, not an intelligence test, an emotions test, or a emotional response reaction test. And based on that test result, he can then is licensed to eliminate the android. Um, it was to the point, like, I don't know, like maybe I've watched too many cartoons, but I like pictured, when the android dies, that there's the wires that come out and the sparks sparkle, and there's electricity and all that stuff. But apparently the only way to tell is a bone marrow test, that they're that lifelike, and that is the big deal, that it's like a autopsy level of distinction. And I mean, that's huge. Like, that's a big deal. So that kind of adds to the blurred lines of what's human and what's android. There was another character that they follow, Isidore, I think is his name. He is a human who had a special ability, like literally a special ability. He could, the animals, he could, I don't want to say communicate with them, but, he was like Disney princess style, right? Like animals would just show up around him and he could feel their presence and be more connected with them. Pretty much what everybody aspires to be in this universe, he had naturally as an ability, and he went from having that special ability to then having it taken away. The government of Earth radiated cobalt into his brain and turned him into a special needs person, individual. So he's handicapped in the brain, and really, like, that kind of, humans did that. Supposedly the ones that are more emotionally intelligent, the more emotionally in touch, did something brutal like that. And so that adds to the blurred lines and the distinction between what's human and what's android. So Buster Friendly also stirs the pot a little bit, in that, he's always doing 23 hours of videos, TV shows, and radio talk shows. So of course he's got to be an android. There's no way that one human can do that, let alone half of that. So all of this, it's a giant swirling, confusing, what's human, what's not human, am I human, am I, like this whole, all these questions are going back and forth. So I liked this book. It was very confusing, a big swirling mess, and I think it was intended that way. So things that I liked: not all humans can pass the emotional intelligence test. Mr. Isidore wouldn't have passed the test that Deckard applied. And so there is situations where, yes, he has a license to kill, even though it's only androids. Anybody who fails that test, he could take out. So that's something to keep in mind. I liked that there was other tests that other police departments use. I think one was like a spinal reaction test, measuring the reaction time. A human would be a specific time range versus an android who might even be faster or slower. I don't remember the exact details, but I thought that was neat that there was multiple tests that they use. And I mentioned it like 30 times already. Am I an android? Like, that was the big overhanging question. I liked that. The main character questioned himself and was like, everything's happening. Is this really me? And part of that was the other police station scene. Like, he goes to a police station that's being run by an android who is running the police station as a regular police station. And, being a police officer, he had never heard of that before. So, it threw everything for a loop and was just like almost spiraled out of control. So that was a neat scene. The whole animals, I liked the owls, the spider, and the toad at the end. I really liked the variety. It's not something I would have expected from, a wasteland that was Earth, but, they could have all been electric. So that is potential, right? Electric sheep, is part of the title. So things I disliked, the variety also cut both ways. An ostrich, I just feel like an ostrich wouldn't survive a radioactive wasteland where it buries its head in the sand, right? All of the radioactive dust would be right there going right into its eyeballs as it burrows its head into the sand. I don't know. Either way, so I didn't like the ostrich that was in the show window, so my guess is maybe it was electric, but I don't know. Either way, I didn't like it. So I didn't like the rules governing androids. It seemed like it was almost like an afterthought. Like I feel like it would have been spelled out more either by a government channel or some story arc other than like, oh yeah, these are the like they just kind of, I don't want to say they came up organically. It almost felt like they were an afterthought. Oh yeah, you can't do this with an Android, and then oh you can't do this with an Android. I felt like if they were, these are the laid down rules, they would have been laid out a little bit more. But maybe Earth is just anything goes. I'm not sure. So yeah, the movie left out the taking care of animals and the Mercerism. So those were two huge themes that didn't get much representation. Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I'm looking forward to reading more from this author. I didn't know that he wrote The Man in the High Castle, so I will be checking that out. Give this a try. Post-apocalyptic environments. If you like iRobot or Asimov's Foundation series, this could be right up your alley. I'm definitely looking forward to reading more robot stories. This was a good one. Remember to buy your books used.